one of the greatest shooting guard in NBA history. The only player to have two different jersey numbers retired by the same team. 20 years with one franchise, 5 NBA championships, 2 Finals Most Valuable Player awards, 1 regular season MVP for All-Star Game MVPs, 2 Olympic gold medals, 2-time NBA scoring champion, 18 All-Star selections, 15 All-NBA team honors, 12 All-Defensive team selections, 8 seasons on both the All-NBA first team and the All-Defensive first team, led a three-peat, then won back-to-back championships, the youngest player to start in an NBA All-Star game, scored 81 points in a single game, recorded 62 points in 3 quarters, scored 50 or more in 4 consecutive games, ranks 4th on the NBA's all-time scoring list, the first player in history to score 40 or more points against 29 different teams, a Basketball Hall of Famer, the greatest scoring guard of his era after Jordan, the most obsessed, driven player the game has ever known. One city, one jersey, one belief: he is Kobe Bryant. He is forever the Black Mamba. Welcome to Rookie to Legend. If you love basketball stories, then you're in the right place. Some visuals are created with AI to bring the story to life, but if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's begin the journey. Back to the summer of 1996, Lakers executive Jerry West had just signed Shaquille O'Neal, and he turned to him with confidence. "We just got a kid in the draft," he said. "You and him together can win 5 championships." That kid was Kobe, even before entering the league. Kobe had already conquered the high school world in his senior year at Lower Merion. He averaged over 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, with 4 steals and 3 blocks a game. He led his team to a perfect 27-0 season, winning their first state championship in 53 years. At just 18 years old, under the spotlight of a city built on fame, he stepped into Los Angeles and put on the number 8 jersey. Young, gifted, and already a star, he arrived with weight on his shoulders and expectation in his name. Jerry West worried that the bright lights of Los Angeles might pull him off course. But what he saw in Kobe was different. While others got lost in Hollywood, Kobe was locked in the gym. He trained like a madman. He lived for the work. He didn't care about parties or distractions. His focus was total at that time. Michael Jordan had just claimed his 4th championship and was on his way to a second three-peat, building the final chapter of his basketball mythology. And somewhere in California, a teenager named Kobe Bryant was quietly preparing to write a legacy of his own. In the early days of his career, Kobe Bryant was considered lucky to be handpicked by Jerry West, the godfather of the Lakers, who believed Kobe might be the best player in the entire golden class of '96. But Kobe was also unlucky, because the Lakers were already stacked at his position with 2 all-star guards in Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones holding down the backcourt. There was simply no reason for the Lakers to prioritize a teenage rookie over 2 established stars. In the season opener against the Phoenix Suns, Kobe played less than a minute. In Game 2 against the Timberwolves, he played 6 minutes, recorded a turnover, and had his shot blocked. It wasn't until Game 3 against the New York Knicks he finally scored his first point in the NBA. 2 free throws, 1 made, in just 3 minutes on the court. At that point, the former high school phenom looked nothing like the heir to Jordan. His transition into the league was rocky, awkward, and filled with growing pains. But Kobe didn't complain. He saw it as part of the process. Even then, at just 18 years old, he was already studying the game like a veteran, waiting, watching, learning, preparing for his time to come. But his shooting was off, turnovers piled up. He struggled on defense, and doubts began to surface. People wondered if this 18-year-old kid was cut out for the NBA, if the once dominant high school star was now in over his head. Around the league, the biggest names were putting on a show. And the rookies from the class of '96, Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Ray Allen, they were already shining. Kobe felt the pressure. He wanted to be part of that spotlight. He wanted to prove that he belonged. Most of all, he wanted a shot at Iverson, the number 1 pick, the one stealing all the headlines. While Iverson was crossing over the best defenders in the league, Kobe was still fighting for playing time. By the end of his rookie season, Kobe Bryant was averaging just over 15 minutes per game. He put up 7.6 points a night, and even though he had just won the slam dunk contest on All-Star Weekend, most people still looked the other way. Inside the Lakers locker room, he was still just a kid, Eddie Jones, the team's starting shooting guard and a two-time All-Star, kept Kobe glued to the bench. Nick Van Exel, the fiery guard with a streetball edge, dominated the backcourt and showed Kobe no mercy in practice. Head coach Del Harris didn't hold back either. He said Kobe was for the future. But right now, he meant nothing, and outside the team, the fans in Los Angeles weren't buying in yet either. They had seen greatness like Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They weren't about to wait patiently for a rookie to slowly grow. The spotlight in LA was harsh, the audience was impatient, and the window to prove yourself was small. For Kobe, there was no luxury of time, no space to stumble. If he wanted to survive in this city, in this franchise, he had to evolve faster than anyone before him. He had to turn himself into something. The Lakers couldn't live without a weapon forged in purple and gold, a blade sharpened in silence. The world wasn't ready for him yet, but he was getting ready for the world. The 1997 NBA playoffs soon began with Shaquille O'Neal putting on a dominant performance. Kobe, meanwhile, played just 6 minutes total across those 2 games against Portland. Game 3, Portland came out strong and had the Lakers on their heels. Coach Del Harris turned to Kobe. The rookie entered the game with something to prove. He grabbed the chance and attacked relentlessly, drew fouls, and created scoring opportunities for his teammates. He scored 22 points and gave the Lakers a spark they desperately needed. But it wasn't enough. The Lakers lost the game, 90-98, despite Kobe's breakout performance. Game 4 brought him right back to the bench. The Lakers, carried by Shaq, closed the series and advanced. In the second round, they met a different beast. The Utah Jazz, a veteran team with unmatched chemistry. Stockton and Malone led a system that slowed the game, controlled the tempo, and completely neutralized Shaq's impact inside. Utah took the first 2 games. In Game 3, Kobe responded. He scored 17 points in the fourth quarter alone, calmly knocked down clutch free throws, and finished with a team-high 19 points. At just 18 years old, he had given Lakers hope. They pulled the series to 2-1, but the joy was short-lived. In Game 4, Karl Malone erupted for 42 points and the Jazz took control again. Then came Game 5. The Lakers were falling apart. Byron Scott was out with an injury. Robert Horry was ejected in the third quarter. Nick Van Exel was limping. With 2 minutes left, Shaq fouled out. There was no one left. Del Harris turned to the rookie. Kobe took the final shot of regulation, but an air ball and the game went to overtime. Kobe took another, and another air ball, and one more. A third air ball, 3 shots, 3 misses. All in front of a national audience. All in the most important game of his young career. The Lakers lost, 93-98. Their playoff run was over, and Kobe Bryant became the face of failure. The headlines didn't hold back. The fans didn't forgive. An 18-year-old had stepped into the spotlight and stumbled. Kobe's first playoff run ended in the harshest way possible, sudden, painful, and under the full weight of public judgment. Critics didn't hold back. The media called him careless, too young, not ready. But what they didn't see was that, on the biggest stage, when everyone else faded, he still had the courage to step up. He wanted the final shot. He took the fall when it mattered most. That same night, after the team returned to Los Angeles, long after midnight, Kobe went alone to a nearby gym near his home, under the lights of an empty court, with no cameras, no coaches, and no distractions. He began to shoot, again and again for hours. It was in that silence that something inside him changed. That summer, he trained with a kind of fury most players never find. He broke down his flaws one by one, rewired his mechanics, rebuilt his footwork, and reshaped his habits. He wasn't just trying to improve. He was trying to transform. That was the summer he learned what it meant to train at 4 in the morning, when the world was asleep, no one was watching. For Kobe, that playoff failure wasn't an ending. It was a turning point. It taught him how to face adversity, how to handle scrutiny, and how to chase greatness with total conviction. When the next season came, Kobe Bryant wasn't waiting for opportunity anymore. He was ready to take it. In the 1997-98 regular season started, the Lakers once again faced the Utah Jazz, and this time Kobe was fired up. He had been waiting for this rematch since last year's playoff heartbreak. From the opening tip, he unleashed everything in his arsenal. Reverse layups, mid-air adjustments. Late in the game, he caught fire, scoring 23 points and leading the Lakers to a 17-point win. a revenge complete. Just days later against the Warriors, Kobe exploded for 25 points, but in the fourth quarter, he rolled his ankle and had to sit out the next 3 games. When he returned, fate brought him back to the Jazz again. This time in the closing moment, she blocked Brian Russell's game-tying 3 and sealed another victory, sparked a 9-game winning streak for the Lakers. By mid-season, Los Angeles was the highest-scoring team in the league, averaging 112 points per game, far ahead of the second-place Suns. The Lakers were suddenly one of the deepest rosters in basketball, with 6 players averaging double digits. Kobe came off the bench as the team's 6th man, backing up Eddie Jones, but his minutes had doubled and he was now averaging nearly 18 points a night. On defense, he was a disruptor, forcing turnovers, blocking shots, and breaking the rhythm of opposing offenses. On offense, he was relentless, attacking the rim, slicing through defenders, and finishing with explosive dunks. His flashy, unpredictable style and signature afro quickly made him a fan favorite across the league. Then came December 27th. Shaq was out with a pulled abdominal muscle he suffered weeks earlier. With the spotlight now on him, Kobe stepped up. He pushed his scoring average to 19 points per game and posted a career-high 30 points against the Dallas Mavericks. The media took notice. The comparisons began. Many believe this young kid in purple and gold might be the heir to Michael Jordan. Soon, the spotlight matchup between the Lakers and the Chicago Bulls arrived. When Kobe finally got the chance he had been dreaming of, a head-to-head battle with his idol, Michael Jordan, they traded moves, low-post spins, elegant footwork, fadeaways off one leg. Jordan went off for 36 points. Kobe answered with 33 of his own. Every possession felt like a passing of the torch. After the game, Jordan gave Kobe high praise. The headlines exploded. The veteran and the kid had just delivered a classic, and the fans responded. Riding the wave of that showdown, Kobe's popularity skyrocketed. He earned a spot in the All-Star game, and not just as a reserve. He passed Magic Johnson to become the youngest All-Star starter in NBA history. Jordan would go on to claim the MVP, putting up 23 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds in a vintage display of greatness. Still, even in the presence of a god, Kobe's fire burned brighter than ever. His swagger, his drive, his sheer will to compete. It was clear. This was no ordinary rising star. This was Jordan's heir apparent. By the end of the 1997-98 season, Kobe Bryant had gone from benchwarmer to 6th man of the year candidate. He played in 79 games, averaging 15.4 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, all while coming off the bench. Shaq played 60 games, putting up 28.3 points per night and leading the Lakers to a 61-21 record, earning first-team All-NBA honors. And right behind him was Kobe. The league had its newest duo, one a force of nature, the other a storm in the making. In the first round of the 1997-98 playoffs, the Lakers matched up against the Portland Trail Blazers. Kobe stepped up in Game 1, scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter to help the Lakers edge out a narrow victory, with a final score of 104-102. By Game 4, he delivered 22 points with ease, and the Lakers closed the series 3-1. In the second round, Shaquille O'Neal dominated the Seattle Supersonics. The Lakers took the series with 4 wins to 1 and reached the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 7 years. But their next challenge was the Utah Jazz, the very team that crushed their playoff hopes last year. That the Lakers struggled again. Even when Shaq delivered explosive performances, he found himself trapped in double teams with no reliable help. The team's offense fell apart, and in the high-pressure environment of Salt Lake City, they were swept once again. Kobe quietly walked out of the locker room. What he did not know was that Jerry West had just finished a private conversation with Shaquille O'Neal. West believed in a new vision. Shaq would remain the cornerstone of the team, but the time had come to bring Kobe forward. The Lakers needed both of them, one to dominate the paint, one to rise from the perimeter. Together, they could chase championships. The next year in 1998, Michael Jordan walked away from the game, and with him the Bulls dynasty came crashing down. Barkley, Stockton, Malone, Ewing, Robinson, the titans of the old era were fading. The league stood at a turning point, and Kobe was ready. He buried himself in relentless training, chasing greatness with a hunger few had ever seen. Day after day, he moved between the weight room and the hardwood. He studied hours of game tape, searching for even the smallest edge. He trained with Hakeem to perfect the fadeaway. He learned baseline footwork from Oscar Robertson. He absorbed the charisma and leadership of Magic Johnson. His jumper got smoother. His defense got tighter. His mindset got sharper. By the time he turned 20, Kobe was no longer just a rising star. He was becoming the Lakers' second weapon, and soon the league would realize this wasn't just another young talent. This was the birth of a killer. The 1999 NBA season finally tipped off after a long delay, and Kobe Bryant came in ready for war, now a full-time starter. He embraced the role with relentless energy, locking in on defense and unleashing his full scoring arsenal. On opening night, Kobe dropped 25 points and grabbed 10 rebounds against the Rockets. His first career double-double. He followed that with 12 boards against the Jazz, then another 10 rebounds facing Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Game after game, Kobe showed he wasn't just a scorer anymore. He was doing the dirty work, fighting on the glass, committing on both ends. By late March, he exploded for 38 points against the Magic, scoring 33 of them in the second half alone. In early May, he lit up the Mavericks while orchestrating the Lakers' offense with precision and pace. It was clear, outside of Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe had become the team's most dangerous weapon. The lockout shortened season ended, with the Lakers at 31 wins and 19 losses. Shaq dominated with 26.3 points, 10.7 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks per game. But it was Kobe who made the biggest leap. In 50 games, he averaged 19.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 1.4 steals. He was no longer a rising talent. He was a two-way threat, and the league took notice. Kobe Bryant was named to the All-NBA third team. At just 20 years old, the Mamba was coming. In the 1999 playoffs, the Lakers faced the veteran-heavy Houston Rockets in the first round. They were up against legends: 36-year-old Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and a 34-year-old Scottie Pippen. But youth prevailed. The Lakers breezed through the series in 4 games. Then came the Western Conference semifinals. It was the league's second-best offense versus the #1 ranked defense. The San Antonio Spurs stood in their way, and at the heart of it all was the rising star Tim Duncan. In just his rookie year, Duncan averaged over 21 points and nearly 12 rebounds, earning first-team All-NBA honors. He had already begun to replace David Robinson as the new king of San Antonio. With the Spurs' Twin Towers in full force, the Lakers faced their toughest challenge yet. Game 1 started well. Kobe relentlessly attacked the rim, creating for teammates and helping the Lakers take an early lead. But Shaq struggled against the length and discipline of the Spurs' interior defense. Los Angeles, already shaky on defense, fell apart in Game 2. It was a battle to the wire, but with 8.4 seconds left in the half, Duncan nailed his signature bank shot, a dagger that sealed the win. Game 3 saw the Lakers throw everything they had. Kobe and Shaq pushed hard, but Duncan took over once again, scoring the Spurs' final 13 points in the fourth quarter. San Antonio went up 3-0. By Game 4, the Lakers were broken. The Spurs completed the sweep. The league's flashiest young team had fallen to the calm, calculated machine from San Antonio. After being swept by the Spurs, Kobe Bryant walked out of the Alamodome without a word. His face was unreadable. When reporters asked about his off-season plans, he gave a simple reply: "There's nothing else, just basketball." Then he stepped into his black Mercedes and drove off into the night. From 1996 to 1999, the Lakers had transformed. Once the youngest team in the league, they were now its most talented, most electric, and most feared rising force. Twice they had been eliminated from the playoffs in brutal sweeps. But the league knew this team was dangerous. Shaquille O'Neal, the most unstoppable force in the paint; Kobe Bryant, a rapidly sharpening blade on the perimeter; Rick Fox, Derek Fisher, Devine George. The supporting cast was getting stronger. All they needed was one final piece. Someone who could bring it all together. Someone who had done it before. So the Lakers made their move. They offered a massive deal to bring back a living legend. Phil Jackson, the Zen master, the coach behind Chicago's Dynasty, was coming to Los Angeles. And at that moment, a feeling swept through the league. The purple and gold were about to rise. A new dynasty was on the horizon. Before the start of the 1999 to 2000 season, Kobe's rookie contract had expired. The Lakers didn't hesitate. They locked him in with a 6-year deal worth $70.9 million. Under the guidance of new head coach Phil Jackson, Kobe finally understood basketball wasn't a one-man game. He started buying into team play, embracing his teammates, and even organizing dinners while on the road. The message was clear. This team was united. The season tipped off on November 2nd, 1999. By December 8th, the Lakers had lost just once to the Kings. Then came a 16-game win streak. After 36 games, the Lakers stood at 31-5, a jaw-dropping 88% win rate. Phil Jackson's triangle offense worked like magic. It gave Kobe the space to play his role on the perimeter, and it freed Shaq from constant double teams. Now, the big man could finally unleash his full power. After the All-Star break, the Lakers kept surging. Kobe evolved in every direction. He no longer played like an isolation-heavy scorer. He became a lockdown defender. Larry Brown even called him the role model for the NBA's next generation. Chemistry between Shaq and Kobe reached new heights. The Lakers weren't just a team. They were a machine. By the end of the regular season, they had secured 67 wins, the best record in the league, and Kobe played 66 games and averaged 22.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 4.9 assists. He made the All-NBA second team, and for the first time, was named to the All-Defensive first team. His rise was undeniable, and the rest of the league could feel the storm was coming. In the first round of the 2000 playoffs, the Lakers faced the Sacramento Kings, a flashy team with the league's #1 offense, averaging over 105 points per game. Their signature Princeton offense relied on quick cuts and elegant ball movement. To slice through opposing defenses, Shaquille O'Neal dominated early, dropping 46 and 23 points in the first 2 games, overpowering the Kings' big men and giving the Lakers a 2-0 lead. The series then shifted to Sacramento, back home. The Kings responded with beautiful ball movement and relentless tempo. Webber led the charge as they picked apart the Lakers' defense. Despite Kobe scoring a combined 67 points in Games 3 and 4, the Lakers dropped both games. The series was tied at 2, and suddenly, the Lakers were facing elimination back in Los Angeles for the decisive Game 5. The pressure was on. This time, the Stars delivered. Shaq erupted for 32 points and 18 rebounds. Kobe added 17 points and 3 blocks. The Lakers crushed the Kings by 27 points and advanced to the next round with a 3-2 win. In the Western semis, the Lakers breezed past the Suns, while Shaq dominated. With back-to-back monster performances, it was clear the team was locked in, and Kobe was ready for even bigger moments ahead. The Western Conference Finals. The Lakers faced one of the deepest rosters the league had ever seen. The Portland Trail Blazers were stacked with elite talent: Scottie Pippen, Arvydas Sabonis, Rasheed Wallace. Alongside them were tough, seasoned veterans like Shrimp and Bonzi Wells. Their frontcourt depth allowed them to rotate endlessly, using wave after wave of fresh defenders. Over a long series, the Lakers knew they wouldn't have the advantage of endurance. In Game 1, Shaquille O'Neal was unstoppable. He dropped 41 points, grabbed 11 rebounds, and swatted 5 shots. The Blazers' defense collapsed under his sheer power, and the Lakers took the opener with ease. But in Game 2, Pippen, a 6-time champion who knew the triangle offense inside and out, disrupted the Lakers' flow with suffocating defense. Portland played beautiful half-court basketball and blew the Lakers out by 29 points. The momentum had shifted. The Lakers had lost home court advantage and were heading into 2 brutal road games. In Game 3, Phil Jackson made a key adjustment. He assigned Kobe to guard Pippen. Shaq powered through the full game with 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Kobe, meanwhile, drilled one fadeaway jumper after another, finishing with 25 points. With the score tied at 91 and less than 30 seconds remaining, Kobe ran the triangle to perfection and passed to Ron Harper. The 36-year-old vet rose up and buried the game winner. Moments later, Kobe blocked Sabonis at the rim, sealing a thrilling comeback win. The Lakers stole Game 3, 93-91. Game 4 was another war. Portland turned to the hack-a-Shaq strategy, but Shaq stunned everyone by going 9 from the line. He finished with 25 points and 11 rebounds. The Lakers had won both road games and now led the series 3-1. But Portland wasn't done. In Game 5, the Blazers clamped down on Shaq, collapsing the paint with relentless double teams. Harper went cold, Kobe struggled, and the supporting cast fell apart. The Lakers lost. In Game 6, it was more of the same. Shaq shot just 7 for 17 shots and missed most of his free throws. Kobe erupted for 33 points, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. But the Blazers were locked in. Rasheed Wallace led the charge as Portland tied the series 3-3. The Lakers were being pushed to the brink. Game 7, the ultimate test. From the opening tip, Portland bombarded the Lakers with threes, ball movement, and unrelenting pressure. By the start of the fourth quarter, Los Angeles trailed by 15. Staples Center was silent. The dream was slipping away. That's when Phil Jackson made the call. Stop feeding the post. Let Kobe take over. And take over he did. First, he swatted away a Blazers shot like a volleyball spike. Then he read the collapsing defense, attacked the remaining gaps, and hit jumper after jumper. The lead vanished, the crowd exploded. Portland panicked, and then, the final moment, Kobe drove past Pippen, drawing every eye in the arena. But instead of finishing, he lofted a perfect alley-oop. Shaq soared into the air and threw down the dunk of a lifetime. The building shook. The crowd erupted. Shaq pointed and sprinted toward Kobe in disbelief. The Lakers had pulled off a legendary comeback. They defeated the Blazers 4-3 lead and returned to the NBA Finals for the first time in 9 years to win the ultimate prize, the coveted Larry O'Brien Trophy. The Lakers had one final hurdle. Standing in their way was a cold-blooded killer. Man who once pushed Michael Jordan to a Game 7, Reggie Miller, at 35 years old. Miller was still one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. He once scored 8 points in just 9 seconds. This time, he had finally led the Pacers to their first ever NBA Finals appearance. Though their roster lacked the depth of the Blazers, they were driven by experience and hunger. Veteran warriors like Jalen Rose, Sam Perkins, and Austin Crosher formed a solid support cast, and with 7 feet 4 inches Rick Smits anchoring the paint, the Pacers were ready to challenge the dominance of O'Neal. In Game 1, Shaq once again unleashed a storm, dropping 43 points, 19 rebounds, and 3 blocks. On the other end, Kobe locked down Reggie Miller. The sniper went just 1 for 16 shots from the field, 0 for 3 from deep, and finished with only 7 points. In the closing minutes, the OK duo went on a 16-6 run to seal the game. Lakers took the opener by 17 points, but the Pacers weren't backing down. After 5 heartbreaking trips to the Eastern Conference Finals, they were starving for a championship. In Game 2, Jalen Rose delivered a brutal blow, an intentional foot injury that took Kobe out of the game early. He had just 2 points before being forced to the locker room. To make things worse, the Pacers decided to attack Shaq where he was most vulnerable. At the free throw line, they used the hack-a-Shaq tactic relentlessly. Shaq went to the line a record-setting 39 times, but he didn't collapse. Instead, he exploded for 40 points, 24 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks, almost single-handedly. He willed the Lakers to a 111-104 win. The series now stood at 2-0 lead. Game 3 shifted to Indiana, and Reggie Miller finally found his rhythm. Along with Jalen Rose, they combined for 54 points. Shaq, as always, was a force of nature. He played 47 out of 48 minutes, putting up 33 points and 13 rebounds. He even led a furious fourth-quarter comeback, slicing an 18-point deficit to just 4. But without Kobe, the Lakers fell short. His replacement, Brian Shaw, went just 3 of 10 shots. Glenn Rice, Ron Harper, and AC Green combined for a miserable 10 of 25 shots. The Lakers' offense stalled, and their defense dropped off noticeably. It became clear Kobe's impact on both ends was irreplaceable. After the loss, Kobe walked into the post-game press conference with fire in his eyes. He declared he would return in Game 4, no matter what. The Pacers laughed it off, convinced that a severely injured Kobe wouldn't be a threat. All they needed to do was collapse on Shaq. But they were about to learn the hard way. Never underestimate a man chasing his first championship. Just 5 days after suffering a grade 2 ankle sprain, Kobe Bryant made the decision to play. He was barely 22 years old, playing through intense pain. In the first half, he He scored only 6 points. But in the second half, something changed. Kobe's spirit rose above his injury. He attacked fearlessly, showing off every skill in his arsenal. Even his teammates were stunned. They later admitted that most players couldn't even walk on that injury. Shaquille O'Neal dominated the paint, scoring 14 points in the third quarter alone, pushing the game into overtime. But with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in overtime, Shaq picked up his 6th foul. He was out of the game. The Indiana crowd erupted. Convinced the Lakers were finished, Phil Jackson made a bold decision. He scrapped the triangle offense and handed the game to a limping, fearless Kobe. Kobe delivered. He weaved around a screen and nailed a jumper, hit a tough pull-up shot over 2 defenders. In the closing seconds, he grabbed a clutch offensive rebound on one leg, twisted his body midair, and banked in a reverse layup. That shot gave the Lakers a 120-118 lead. The game was theirs. Kobe finished with 28 points. Shaq had 36 points and 21 rebounds. But it was Kobe's heart that stole the spotlight. Phil Jackson said it reminded him of Jordan. Shaq simply called him the true hero of the night. With a 3-2-1 lead, the Lakers had control. But in Game 5, the Pacers refused to surrender. Their entire roster caught fire. Reggie Miller scored 32 points. The team shot 57% and hit 10 threes. They crushed the Lakers by 33 points. Kobe, still hurting, managed only 8 points. Even Shaq's 35 points and 11 rebounds couldn't stop the bleeding. Game 6, Jackson made a key adjustment. He put veteran Ron Harper on Miller and gave Kobe the task of shutting down point guard Mark Jackson. It worked perfectly. Kobe's defense cut off Indiana's offensive engine on the other end. He kept feeding Shaq, who continued to dominate the paint. In the final seconds, with 2.5 left on the clock, Kobe calmly sank the free throws that sealed the championship. Lakers won 16, Pacers won 11. Los Angeles won the series 4-2. Claiming the 2000 NBA title, the crowd erupted. Confetti rained down. Shaq averaged 38 points and 16.7 rebounds over 6 games. He was named Finals MVP after 3 straight playoff failures. The OK duo finally held the Larry O'Brien Trophy. As for Kobe, he didn't celebrate for long. At 21 years old, he went straight back to the gym, because in his mind, this was only the first step on the road to greatness. Thanks for watching Rookie to Legend. If you enjoyed this journey, click like and subscribe to support us. Let us know in the comments which NBA legend you want to see next. In the next episode, we'll continue Kobe Bryant's story as he chases his 2nd ring.